What's up, guys? I'm Burak. My wife and I have 4 kids, and there's a word we do not let them use in the house. Actually, there are several words we don't let them use in the house, but one of them is boredom or bored. They are not allowed to say, "I'm bored." And here's why. I know all too well that when I look back on my life, that the times that I allowed myself to be bored, the times where I allowed myself to be idle, were the times where inevitably temptation, usually of sexual nature, would come upon me, and I was not strong enough to defend myself against it. I think about college. I'd have classes and then basketball practice and then training table and film study and then come back and study and for my actual classes and do all these things. And by the end of the evening, usually around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I would give myself permission to say, like, I've done enough today. Now it's time for me. Now it's my time. And what would happen is in an effort to achieve rest, what I would become is idle. And idleness is not the same thing as rest. Rest is a God-given gift that he demonstrates for us. He models for us on the Sabbath, right? God rested from his work, and it was restorative rest. There's purpose to it. It's celebrating and living in the thing that has been created. It's actually taking stock of the gifts and sitting in those gifts and entering into those gifts. But what we've done as a culture is we've taken this good concept of rest and turned it into this idea of this false premise of leisure that almost always looks like sitting on the beach doing nothing, right? The idea, the pinnacle of leisure, the pinnacle of rest is where I don't do anything, or I don't have any responsibilities, when I don't have any demands on me, and I can kind of do what I want, when I want, with whomever I want. And here's the thing, that desire, or that what that generates, that idea of rest corresponds directly to the ways that the devil tempts us sexually, right? To do whatever I want, with whomever I want, however I want, is directly tied to this false understanding of rest. And so when we find ourselves bored, or we find ourselves idle, it's no wonder that the devil uses that as a wonderful opportunity to tempt us sexually. So the challenge to us is not to avoid rest. No, we need to rest. But to rest properly, rest with intentionality, still rest with an understanding that I can be restored even as I continue to do things. That the idea of just sitting around doing nothing, being idle, is actually the devil's playground. The more we allow ourselves to have times when we're bored or idle, the more we're going to have these times of temptation that we may or may not be able to resist. So don't be idle, be active, be strong. Don't be afraid to rest, but do it with intentionality.